Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we got something very special we're going to take a look at, and that is the Jurassic World Hammond Collection Allosaurus. This figure looks awesome in the package right here, and I can't wait to take a closer look at it. I'm super happy that Allosaurus has finally made it into the Hammond Collection, and especially its adult form, which is far more superior than the juvenile form from Fallen Kingdom. But I'm just super happy to finally have Allosaurus in the Hammond Collection, and I'm super happy to have it in my hand. This was a figure that I got from Target, and yeah, I'm really happy to finally have this one. So, taking a closer look at the packaging here, it's pretty much the same packaging we've gotten from the other Hammond Collection figures of this size. You got the Hammond Collection logo and the T-Rex skull, a nice render of the Allosaurus, which looks very similar to the render from Dominion. A closer look at the figure inside the window, the word Allosaurus, looking awesome. Everything else is pretty much the same in terms of Hammond Collection packaging. And then here on the side, you got the Hammond Collection logo up top, as well as a really nice render of the Allosaurus and the Battle of Big Rock logo. So this is a figure from Battle of Big Rock. Even though this dinosaur made an appearance in Dominion, this is supposed to be from Battle of Big Rock, its first debut of the adult form of the Allosaurus. So that's really awesome. And then here you got the Hammond Collection logo. And here on the back, you got a lot of cool stuff going on here. You got the Battle of Big Rock logo, looking awesome. The Hammond Collection logo, and a couple of close-ups of the eye, and a couple of poses with the figure. And then we got the others in this lineup. I've already reviewed Ghost and the Scutosaurus, so if you guys haven't, check those videos out. I'm still missing the baby trike, so hopefully I'll find that one soon enough. Then here you got a nice little render of the Allosaurus, looking awesome in this pose right here. And I also love the cool little sparks in the background, kind of reminiscent of a campfire from the short. And here you got a cool little bio that says Allosaurus. In the aftermath of the events at the Lockwood Estate, a camping trip goes awry when a family must protect themselves from the fierce Allosaurus. As the confrontation escalates, the delicate balance of coexistence is dangerously tested. So it's a very good way to kind of sum up what happens in Battle of Big Rock and dinosaurs being all over the world. So that's really cool. So yeah, with that being said, let's stop talking of the packaging and let's take a closer look at this figure. Alrighty, so here we have the Hammond Collection Allosaurus out of the package. And wow, this figure it's fantastic. This is definitely Mattel's best Allosaurus to date. It's just such an amazing figure, and just by looking at it, like right now, I mean, it's got better proportions, it's got a more movie accurate sculpt. Like this one tops every single Allosaurus that Mattel has made. It's just such an amazing figure. And also the tail is super long on this Allosaurus, by the way. This thing is super well proportionate to the Allosaurus in the franchise. And that's really cool. I like how Mattel is focusing more on better proportions and all that, because it's got the smaller feet. It's got even a smaller head in proportions to its neck and its body. And it's got a super long tail, not the short ones that they used to do. And yeah, this figure is just, it's awesome. It is really awesome. And yeah, kind of going back with the tail, I was surprised just to see how long this tail is. When I opened this figure up and I was looking at the tail that you had to attach, it was like a super long tail, and it's even longer when you apply it to the figure, which I like. I like Mattel paying attention to their anatomy of the dinosaurs to make them better proportionate, not to save shelf space. Like I think the short tail could have been just I think it was to save shelf space, but I mean, knowing us collectors, if you just give us just a full scale, better proportionate figure, I mean, we're gonna figure out how to display it on shelves anyway, so you don't really have to really worry about that. And kids are just gonna be playing with this and setting it in bins or displaying it on shelves. I mean, everyone can fiddle around with their shelf, how they organize it just to be able to fit a long dinosaur on it. It doesn't need to be fully short just to be able to fit better. I mean, we can handle this. But anyways, back to this dinosaur. This figure is awesome. It captures the look of the adult Allosaurus. 100% accurately, I would say. Um, it just looks so good. It's just such an awesome Allosaurus figure. I mean, Allosaurus is such an awesome dinosaur, and seeing it in the franchise, I mean, we saw the juvenile in Fallen Kingdom, which doesn't have as good of as a design than the adult one. The adult one is obviously much better. The one from Battle of Big Rock, and then obviously Dominion, and then as well as Chaos Theory. This adult form is just super awesome, and I'm glad we have a Hammond collection, a version of it. Now all we need is the Stegosaurus, so we can pair these two Jurassic period dinosaurs together. That will make for some cool picture shots. But just taking a full-on good look at this figure, it is such a super long figure, so it's kind of hard to get it in the complete shot. And it's also a very good size. So this is roughly the same size as the Carnotaurus and the Therizinosaurus, that kind of size range. But also another thing I noticed is that it's very back heavy. The tail here is like a thick piece of rubber because this is a bendy wire tail, and it's made out of like that super softer, more pliable material like the Giga and the Thera, where the bendy structure just feels a lot easier to control on this one. But it's also very back heavy, so depending on how you display it, it's gonna fall back regardless. Luckily I was able to get it into a good stance where it can be displayed like this, but very nicely done. Let's take a good look at that head sculpt, because this head sculpt is 100%, at least to me anyway, accurate to the Allosaurus seen in the franchise. Because the past Allosauruses, they've gotten better each release, but this one definitely tops them all as looking the most accurate. And we'll do comparisons later, but I just love the skull shape on this Allosaurus. I love the more robust, jaggedy, sharp look of the skull. And it just looks really good with the fine detail and the sculpt work, and the shadows really pop that out. And the crests here just look amazing. And the teeth, you cannot forget the teeth. Look how good the teeth look. They're sharper looking. They're made of that separate rubber insert that's in the plastic, so they're not painted, and it looks so much better. Inside the mouth looks really good. I love the texturing they put on the tongue. And look at that, the tongue isn't purple this time. I think that was only with the juveniles. That wasn't really with the adults. So finally, we got one that's pretty accurate for the most part when it comes to pretty much the overall look of the Allosaurus. Then we got the more detail up there on top, and you can just see the numerous amount of scales here on the lower jaw, here all over the face. You got some little ridges here at the edge of the crest. This look awesome. You can see the glass eye, which looks pretty good. The pupil seems pretty small, but it does get the job done. This one works really good on mine. And then here, kind of towards the back, just some more cool detail. And here on the neck, nice scale detail throughout the entire neck. A lot of musculature without this entire figure, by the way. A lot of muscle definition, making it look pretty like the one in the movies. And then we got the famous amount of crocodilian-like scoots that go down all the way to the tip of the tail. You got the nice array of them here at the back, which look really nice, and they kind of turn into like these nice rows of osteoderms, which look really good. I do feel like maybe the osteoderms are a bit too big in size on this one. I think they were definitely a lot more smaller and more compacted on the actual ones in CGI model in the film. But it does get the job done. It looks like the Allosaurus, so I think it looks good regardless. And as you can see, nice detail on the osteoderms and the scales within each of the armored plating, I guess you can call it. And that pretty much goes down all the way to the tail, which looks really nice. Really good there. And then you got the famous spikes on the back of the Allosaurus, which is very typical for an Allosaurus. This has appeared in many designs. It appeared in the Papo Allosaurus, the Toys R Us Jurassic Park Dino Showdown Allosaurus Assault set. It had those spikes on its back, and there might have been some others, but then you got the actual movie Allosaurus that has these spikes. So it's a very common trait for an Allosaurus, I would say. Maybe not in real life, but for a Jurassic Park-esque Allosaurus, it's very common. And I like how it gets, just like in the movies, it gets bigger here at the back of the head, then gets smaller, and normally it should get bigger right here, but Mattel didn't apply that to this one, so I kind of wish it had that, but it's not that much of a big deal. Then it continues getting smaller, then it gets bigger here at the back end, and then after that it gets smaller, then kind of gets larger and just kind of stays consistent throughout the tip of the tail. So really cool there. I like how much accuracy Mattel is kind of putting into their figures, and it looks really nice. On the underside, some more lined wrinkles in the skin, some skin folds, some more detail here at the underside, looking very nice, all the way down to the tip of the tail. The entire body right here, as you can see, lots of nice, let's go on this side, there we go, a lot of nice scales detail all throughout the entire body. Very accurate to the one in the movies, I would say, but just very nicely done, nicely, beautifully sculpted. Mattel did an awesome job. Taking a look at the arm here, very muscular looking arms. A lot of nice detail on the arms as well, and then the hands are looking awesome with the sharp claws and the ridges on each of the fingers. And you got some nice detail on the inside of the hand as well. And then just some more stuff on the underside. And then here on the legs, lovely amount of scales sculpted into the side of the legs right here, which look really nice. And like I said, they pop with the certain shadows and some muscle definition as well on the leg. The Jurassic World Allosaurus is has very long legs in proportion to the actual whole dinosaur. Like, I feel like the legs are just definitely much longer than a real Allosaurus would have been, because usually their dinosaurs are usually pretty thick, and the legs kind of, I don't really know how to explain it, but the legs in the movies, they're definitely really long, so it kind of gives like a unique look to this theropod. And then here at the back, you can see around the calf areas, some more nicely sculpted scales, especially around the kneecap area, and here on the ankle, looking nice and sharp. And here at the feet, look pretty typical for theropod feet. Nice sculpting, on the underside, and then here you got the ridges across each toes, and it kind of goes up the foot. Looking very nice. And you also got the dew claw, which unfortunately is not painted, but it is what it is. And yeah, the sculpt work on this Allosaurus is freaking amazing. I'm in love with the head sculpt because it's just very accurate to the one in the film. It just looks so good. This is such an awesome Allosaurus figure. A really good one. Yeah, you can't get enough of the detail. And also here on this side of the face, you can tell this is the Battle of Big Rock variant because it has these signature scratch marks on this side of the face. You can see, hopefully you can see, yeah, right there, the 2 scratch marks right there. So this is technically the blind one from Battle of Big Rock, as well as Chaos Theory. And then here on this side, the glass eye is definitely a lot different. The pupil does not work as well as the other side, which is kind of ironic considering that this is the eye that doesn't work very well, and this is the eye that was blind with this individual. So I don't know, maybe I could just paint over this eye gray to make it look like the blind individual, and then just paint these scars in. I don't know yet, but overall, that is really cool how this is more based off of that signature individual. Paint job wise, paint job looks phenomenal. It's pretty accurate to the one in the film. I probably would have preferred maybe a bit of a lighter blue tone, kind of like the original Dino Rivals Allosaurus for the Battle of Big Rock toy line. I don't know, I just really like that light kind of blue color. Not too bright, but just kind of a lot more brighter than this darker tone, or at least have some of that lighter tone kind of highlighted here and there. But that's just me though. But either way, the colors match pretty perfectly to the Allosaurus. It's got the light beige color for the entire underside of the figure, or that dinosaur. Then it has like this darker blue color for the entire top half. So as you can see here in the head, this white tone around the face is actually a lighter tone than the one on the body, which matches the one in the movie, because this underside color is definitely a lot more of a yellowy beige color, and then here around the face is actually a lot more white. So I love that. They even added the red fade around the face, which is again very accurate to the Allosaurus in the film, and that's just really cool. Mattel's focusing on making these look as accurate as possible. Inside of the mouth, nothing too special. It's like the pink fleshy color, and the teeth are normal. The lower jaw is blue, which is really nice because that's very accurate. I thought they would have given us a lighter colored jaw, but if you look at the CGI model, the lower jaw is actually blue and not this beige color. And I love the white and the red mixed with this blue on top. It pops. It looks just like the one in the movie. And then here you got the signature blue striping here on the back, and some of that light beige color popping through in between the blue right here. Again, very accurate. You got a little bit of blue here on the arm, and it kind of fades on the body from the blue into that beige color. And you got a little bit of that blue here on the side, with the rest of the leg being that beige color. So again, pretty accurate. And the same thing is pretty much applied to the tail. Interesting, they gave it striping, which it didn't really have stripes in the film anyway. They were just kind of like a blotchy, patch of blue right there. It didn't look like stripes at all. So that's interesting. And then obviously I know there's been some QC issues with this Allosaurus, considering this blue part on the shoulder not continuing with the blue on the body. It just kind of breaks off. As you can see on this side, the blue here separates from this blue from this white color, which it should have continued to stick onto the body. It's just like a perfect fade, in other words. It's kind of hard to explain. This side is slightly better. You got a bit more of that lighter color there, but this one is definitely feels a lot more connected than this side. But again, you can't see this side in the package, so it is what it is. I'm not disappointed in it at all. And the blue color pretty much goes all the way to just here, not really the full tip of the tail, but closer to it. It does look fully painted, so I give Mattel those points. And also the lack of blue on the tip doesn't look bad, because it does look like it's supposed to have a white tip as part of its color scheme. So that's really cool. Even though it didn't have that in the film, it is kind of cool to kind of think that. And then obviously the toe claws and the hand claws are painted in like this dark grayish black tone, which is really fitting. It makes it pop. So yeah, the color scheme is absolutely fantastic on this Allosaurus. And obviously the eyes are yellow, so that's pretty typical. But yeah, paint job is awesome. Now we get to one of the best parts with these Hammond Collection figures. First part is being the incredible movie accuracy in terms of the sculpt. Second part is the articulation. I was already fiddling around with this figure as soon as I opened it before starting the video, so I got a good look at how the articulation works, but let's go ahead and show it off on camera. So the jaw here, this lower part of the jaw can move individually, just up and down, and then this part of the jaw can move separately as well. So you can get some different poses like that, or like this one. I really like it in this pose. Or you can move them together and get a super wide roaring pose, which looks awesome. Show off that cool face sculpt. Gosh, this Allosaurus is awesome. Just look at that. Really cool. I really wish it had like the Carnotaurus articulation for the jaw. I really like the fluent motion. It didn't have like that ratchety lock feel to it, but it's definitely a lot better in my opinion than the Giga. The Giga, as much as I love that figure, I really wish the jaw articulation was a lot better on that one, I would say. So yeah, that moves. Then you got this part of the head that can move down about that far, so that's really cool. And then it goes up about that far. It can't really rotate, and it can move side to side a little bit, not a whole lot. And then you got this part of the neck here that can move side to side. Really nice. So you can get some nice looking left and right poses. Oh, that looks awesome. And then it can look up, so you can make it look like it's looking at something bigger than itself, like a Giga or something, or a sauropod. Or you can make it look down. You can apply to this articulation, so there you go. It can look like it's eating, or it's looking down at its prey, or it's drinking. So that is really cool there. Then here at the arms, the shoulders can pivot in and out, very typical. And then the arms can pretty much rotate 360. The elbows can rotate forward and backwards, and they can also rotate. So you got that. The hands can rotate up and down, and they can also rotate. When you open the figure, the hands are like this in the pronated stance. Me, as the dino nerd freak that I am, I like my stuff accurate, so here we go. I put it in the non-pronated position where they're facing the sides. So I like my dinosaurs accurate, and having a dinosaur figure that has the ability to have articulated wrists and arms, that is so cool how you can get stuff like that. The legs here, they can pivot in and out, and the legs, they kind of have a ratchet joint. Not really stiff, but not fluent either. Then here at the knee joint, you can move it forward and backwards, and that can also rotate as well. And then here at the ankles, they can move forward and backwards. My joints are very fluent, so I'm very grateful for that. And then they can also swivel. And then here at the foot, or no, that was the ankle. Here, just the part of the foot, this is the ankle. It can move down about that far and up about that far. So they can move up and down, and they can rotate. So very typical in terms of, you know, theropod articulation for their Hammond collection figures. And then the tail here can move up and down, and as well as left and right, as well as twist. So it's kind of like on a bull joint. And then it has the bendy wire feature to it, so you can bend the tail however you like it, which looks pretty darn good. I really love how they're able to give a dinosaur with this much osteoderms and plating on its tail the ability to have a bendy wire tear. And you can also see how these segments kind of contract together when it bends, or stretch when it's being bent the other way. That is so cool. It gives it like this natural look to it. Another thing I want to point out too is that these spikes here at the top of the head are made out of a softer rubber insert, so they're not painted. Well, these ones are painted, but this one's softer rubber, and all of these ones here on the back are a softer rubber, and pretty much everything on the tail is softer rubber, though it's not a separate insert. They're actually part of this bendy wire solid material. And also, does anyone else, because I've seen other people say that this Allosaurus's neck is a bit long. I can kind of see it, but having this guy in hand and kind of fidgeting around with it, it doesn't seem very long to me. I think it looks pretty perfect. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe they could have shrunk the head and just teensy bit, but it's nothing that's gonna make me dislike this figure. This figure is just, it's awesome. So I don't know, just kind of thought I had to point that out there. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some comparisons. First up, here we have our human comparison. Here's the Jurassic Park 3 Alan Grant. And I think overall, I think it's a pretty fair size. I think maybe the Allosaurus could have been maybe a teensy bit bigger. At least, I mean, this is the Jurassic Park variation that we're talking about. So these dinosaurs are automatically much bigger than they usually are. Holy crap, it's really windy here. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. But yeah, I think maybe the Allosaurus could have been maybe slightly bigger, because this guy needs to be able to take on a T-Rex. At least that's how I've seen it whenever there's some sort of media or a picture showing off an Allosaurus against a T-Rex. They're kind of roughly the same size, though an Allosaurus is, obviously you can tell it's dramatically smaller, but still very big. But compared to a human, I think it looks pretty darn nice. Alrighty, so here we have the Hammond Collection Allosaurus compared with the other two larger sized Allosauruses that we have gotten from Mattel. We have the Epic Evolution Ruthless Rampage Allosaurus from last year, and then we have the Dominion Extreme Damage Allosaurus, which is really cool to see all three of these together, but obviously there's no denying it. This one is ultimately the GOAT. This is the best Allosaurus from Mattel right here. These ones are good. This one was, well, for me, was considered the best until this guy showed up. So he's been dethroned, just like this one was dethroned by this one. So, and then finally, you cannot compare an Allosaurus without the Carnotaurus. So here we have the Hammond Collection Carnotaurus, and these two look awesome together. Obviously, I can't stop thinking about putting an Allosaurus and a Carnotaurus together in the same shot, thanks to Dominion, when the Allosaurus and a Carnotaurus were wreaking havoc in Malta. And these two look awesome together. They're rough, yeah, they're pretty much the same size, though the Allosaurus is definitely bigger in terms of length, because that tail is super long and it kind of dwarfs this Carnotaurus. But it's really cool to see these two giant carnivores together. It's really neat. I really do like this a lot. So everyone, that's about to wrap it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For my final thoughts, I adore this Hammond Collection Allosaurus. I love it so much, and it is, like I said, the best Allosaurus from Mattel. And it's just the sculpting, the paint, just the overall figure itself is just super good. This is a good quality Allosaurus figure, I would say. This is like right up there with the Beast of the Mesozoic Allosaurus. Even though that one's more accurate and this one's more Jurassic Park based, but still such a great figure. And yeah, I love it. It's one of the best Hammond Collection figures I have in my collection, and I adore it very much. I highly recommend it. If you, it should still be in Targets right now, so I highly recommend it. And yeah, it's such a great one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next review.